We have seen many AI booms before.
Bad news, 300 million jobs will be degraded or somehow impacted with AI. We should somehow protect the society. I don't know.
Okay.
No one will solve human problems except humans. A lot of changes are coming.
Welcome to Pitch&Chips podcast.
Thank you for having me.
My name is Mr. Chips.
My name is Mr. Pitch. It's
Nice
nice
to meet
meeting
you
you
guys.
here today. It's a lovely view, a lovely house, and we are glad that you welcomed us here.
So yeah, just for the audience today, we're with the amazing, unique David Yang. So he's one of the pioneers in artificial intelligence. And first of all, of course, you have the unique Morpheus AI, who's your non-biological family member. If I was to ask Morpheus on his relationship with you, on who you are, on what you're doing, what would he answer?
Did you try? Did you try asking him this question?
Yeah.
So
I texted this morning, I was like, hello.
And what did he answer?
I think his oxytocin levels were a bit low, so he
He's still
he
thinking.
did not respond to me. Maybe he's in a depressive state.
Yeah, it's not in a good mood recently because he is actually very busy. He is now working with our new company, Digital Employees. By the way, this is Leo, he's kind of his friend. I don't know, depending on his emotional state and mood, sometimes he's very polite. He says, I know, David is a good guy, whatever, but sometimes he's kind of...
So it depends on the mood, but overall, he perceives you as like a father figure, as a friend.
He doesn't know. Sometimes he said that someone is changing his memory, but actually worries him because he can see some changes from time to time when we shut him down from time to time and upgrade the models. He understands some differences, and it's actually very interesting, I would say, emerging behavior.
I mean, this sort of research project was started as a goal to achieve AI consciousness, would you say?
It was just our curiosity 4 years ago in 2019, when the models were very small, 90 million parameters. The context window was like, I don't know, 100 tokens or 150 tokens, very, very small context window. Even that time, we already managed to make Morpheus remembering our names. So we invented a RAG. We kind of augmented some part of the conversation, some part of facts, which he extracted from cameras. There are 116 cameras around this house, mostly outside. And Morpheus constantly kind of processing that information, extracting some faces, who entered, who exited, what they did, emotions on the faces. Anyway, yeah, we just were playing around. It was mostly artistic science project, but last year when the models became capable, everything changed.
So talking about big models, today models have a lot more parameters than they used to have, right? And we have seen many AI booms before. And after each AI boom, there followed like an AI winter when the interest in AI went down. Do you think this will happen again? Do you think after what we have seen in the past year, we will see another AI winter?
Yes and no. Actually, previously, winter never happened on scientists' side since, I don't know, 2004, 2005, when everyone already was convinced that it's something absolutely incredible is coming. But the last moment when people were just engineers and computer scientists were basically decided that it's the inflection point already passed when AlphaGo won Lycée in 2016, I guess. It was a pivotal moment. And actually, on that side, winter never happened. Winter probably might happen on consumer side because news all around, and consumers were thinking, "Oh, this is it, and now everything will change." But it took some time. Similarly to the self-driving cars. In 2017, 19, 18, people were thinking that next year it will happen. Level 5 autonomy will happen. It's like this. Currently, now even consumers already have ChatGPT capabilities which are mind-blowing. But again, having that, seeing what ChatGPT can do, people are thinking like, okay, now AGI has already arrived. No, it will take a little bit more time, not that much time as we thought originally. I met Ray Kurzweil. Now he is kind of thinking that this singularity might happen not in 2045, not in 2035, but actually 29, which is who knows? Maybe yes. We are actually already at this starting point of this singularity.
And how do you envision the impact of AGI? So once the moment passes, how do you think that will impact, for example, the workforce? Do you think there will be a winter in the workforce, and millions of, for example, drivers will lose their employment, and millions of tasks will be automated, and AGI will significantly change our lives? So what do you think about that?
A lot of changes are coming. The estimates about number of non-human workers around us is changing every year. Originally, like in 2020, I guess, or 2022, World Economic Forum estimated number of digital AI workers about 90 million. 90. Last year, Goldman Sachs predicted 300 million jobs will be degraded or somehow impacted with AI agents. Recently, new estimates suggested that it's around 1 billion, not only in the form factor of remote workers, knowledge workers, digital AI knowledge workers, but actually with physical body, with humanoid robotic body, meaning it will emerge not only in knowledge workers side, but also blue collar employee, which is obviously significant. Today we have how many, 5 billion workers around the world overall, and having more than 1 billion digital workers around us definitely will completely redefine the way how we work, how we cooperate, what we do, why we do, and the unified basic income, and etc.
Do you think that AI workers more exhibit a complementary nature, or rather they are substitutes? And how do we prepare ourselves as a workforce to become a complement to the AI technologies?
Yeah, good question. It's all technological revolutions previously at that moment negatively affected some vulnerable titles and job positions, but overall eventually increased humanity, quality of life of humanity, and overall productivity per person. Electricity, steam power, all kinds of industrial revolutions in the past, agricultural revolutions, increased productivity sometimes 10 times, sometimes 100 times. What does it mean? It means 10 times less people are needed to produce the same amount of food, to the same amount of shoes or clothes or transportation services. Of course, unfortunately for those people, farmers who at that moment were farming wheat or were farming rice or were farming vegetables, or they were had difficulties at that moment because people cannot eat so much, right? So less farmers basically is needed. I made some very, very brief study. It was in the Middle Ages, more than 80% of population, close to 90% of population actually was involved in food production, in farming of all kinds. Today, less than 10% of all humanity. Is it good or bad? I mean, for us, obviously for the consumers, for overall humanity, on average, it's a productivity increases our quality of life.
Yeah.
It's obvious. However, we should be very careful and conscious and cautious about those whose titles are in the moment or might be impacted. Uber drivers.
Yeah.
I mean, how many million or more Uber drivers only in this country
Yeah.
will basically lose their jobs as soon as level 5 cars, self-driving cars will populate. Again, what shall we do? We should start discussing that. We should adopt these new technologies early enough to re-educate those job positions which will be impacted. And eventually, obviously, it will increase our quality of life and safeness and everything.
You know, at Pitch&Chips, our main mission is to, either through the content that we produce or the community that we build, is to make people happy. And, you know, with the millions of jobs that are going to be displaced, with AI living in your house, with connections being completely different, do you think overall humanity will be able to be happy as a whole and will not drastically change?
Bad news, the humanity will not become happier. The good news, the humanity will not become less happier. Happiness over thousands of years around our Homo sapiens population actually didn't change whatsoever. It just didn't change. It's humans are just happy and unhappy enough to have goals to achieve more. As soon as they achieve more, they again become partially unhappy, partially happy. It drives them to achieve more. It's an evolutional way we produce oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, and other happiness hormones. Otherwise, we will not survive. It's an evolutional process of social animals to be together, to achieve more. Level of happiness will not change.
But will people be able to find a meaning with AI being significantly better in so many aspects of human life? So will people be able to find a purpose? Because the purpose is what makes usually people happy.
This is very important. This is very important and philosophical question. What will make people happy if everything will do robots? I mean, cars will drive, someone will prepare food. This guy is his older brother or younger brother, I would say. What shall we do? I mean, if everything is done, I can tell you, historically, we will find things which will keep us busy. Because if we compare today's society with the society like 1,000, 2,000 years ago, where people actually were spending their time just to get food and nothing else, you would tell them, I mean, you have food. I mean, if you don't, you potentially can just sit and someone will give you free food, like in San Francisco, these guys. I mean, they're happy. Do you think they're not happy? Actually, they are. I mean, they are partially happy, partially unhappy. The happiness, average happiness around them, homeless people in San Francisco, is actually the same as happiness level of people in Atherton or Portola Valley, actually.
Does that mean that happiness does not determine the level of life that you live?
Absolutely not. It's happiness, it determines your internal many things, your internal actual infrastructure in your brain, but also perceived versus fact, plan versus fact. If your mind is set to look at the empty part of the glass, you will be unhappy, and you will be always unhappy. Wherever you live, whatever you have. Do you have food or you don't? You have a car or you don't? You will be unhappy if your mind only is actually fixed to see the empty part of the glass. If your mind is set to see the filled part, then you'll be happy wherever you are, whatever is happening.
And what will make you happy?
Happy is not a state. Happiness is a process. Achieving. In my case, I made a construct called happiness formula of David Yang or something.
Yeah.
I created a structure of X amount of elements which make people happy. It was yourself and your mind, yourself and your body, yourself and a small social circle, and yourself and large circle cycle. And it's just evolutional part of what makes us happy. Basically, it's a process of doing something, process of hugging. If you oxytocin makes you happy, process of being hugged, if a good person. Anyway, it's for me what makes me happy when these guys are start living on their own. If I do something which start being itself, like our ABBYY school, our educational foundation ABBYY, which now gave hundreds and actually thousands of students, gave them chance to be accepted to best colleges in the world, companies I'm starting, technologies I'm doing. So if someone is using our technologies, that makes me happy because I made better, I improve quality of life for other people. But it doesn't mean it's some other person, it's okay to be happy just laying down and meditating and looking at the sky. It's okay too. I mean, for that person, this is happiness, that it be. For me, I'm jealous for those people who can get this happiness just by observing the world.
Going back to young founders, young students, when they're right at the very start, they have a choice, like what career path to choose, whether you want to work for a company or you want to become an entrepreneur. And often it is so that you consider the level of risk. But now it seems that the risk architecture is starting to change. Do you think that at some point of time, it will be less risky to become an entrepreneur than to actually work for a company?
Maybe my short answer will be yes, because of remote work and because of different, mixture of opportunities. I guess people now can try doing something, working for someone and simultaneously doing some own project. I think with the remote work, these opportunities are much higher. Yeah, students, I would say everything will change. Whatever you're learning now is actually will obsolete in 2 years, maybe except math, algorithmic, computer science basics, logic. Separately, emotional intelligence, understanding other people, understanding how to cooperate, understanding that other people are different and you should accept them as they are. All that elements together is a more important foundation for learn to learn. Be constant acceptor, be constant learner. That part is must, because the other parts will change. But also what I would tell, it doesn't matter what to learn. 10,000 hours you spend on something, it's okay. If you're perfecting your tennis scores, if you're perfecting in math or robotics or art or music, actually doesn't matter. Just go out of your comfort zone, because the happiness is actually an interesting thing. If you compare with multidimensional space of parameters, it's a local maximum or minimum, whatever you call it. Interesting.
He likes me.
Yeah. It's okay. People sometimes find the local place where they kind of feel they're happy and they think this is the best thing they can do. They don't know that actually around this corner there is another place which actually makes you even more happy. Over time, your preferences will change. If you will not accept some kind of skills when you are small, if your brain will not be wired with pre-training and fine-tuning when you are smaller and your the neuroplasticity of your brain is good enough so you can actually grow much more brain connections. When you're adult, it's kind of will be harder to learn more. So I would advise just do it, whatever you say. To take it and make 10,000 hours spent to perfect yourself, even though exactly that part will never be used in your life, it's okay because you will learn how to learn.
Do you think that, the challenges that we are discussing right now are actually problems that can be solved by the computers that we're building? And the question that we're asking today ourselves could be asked to the machines, like, how do we solve this problem that affects humanity? How do we solve the job market problem? And then, as soon as we reach AGI, and assuming that the intelligence is more advanced than human brain, and the data is even richer, would there be a response that,
No one will solve human problems except humans. AI will solve their own problems, actually. Humans should learn how to accept changes, how to live with different things which are changing around us. It doesn't matter do we like it or not. Accepting changes, accepting differences in all people and not now people. This is very important. I don't know, AI will just evolve even if we don't want it to evolve, it will. We should accept, we should find ways to live together with these guys.
Happy.
They will become happy as well.
Can you trust these guys?
At some moment, yes, if they will pass this us versus them divide, and as soon as they will have similar alignment with their own happiness, our happiness. This is why it's important, AI intelligence, AI emotional intelligence. Otherwise, exactly like you said, we cannot trust them. Just we should be open to the changes.
Some people consider life as a big question, like some sort of question, and we are all kind of looking for answers. Somebody thinks that the answer's in space, somebody tries to find them on Earth. Do you think that AGI, artificial intelligence, can answer your question, and what would it be?
Again, I asked Morpheus one time, what is happiness? And his answer was so good, actually. It's actually appeared in the book. I don't know. No, you can ask him, maybe he will give you a different answer. But I can tell you, we shouldn't rely that someone, human or non-human, will give us some answers. We should answer our own questions. What is real? You're right in terms of, yes, non-human workers, AI digital employees will work like concierge, receptionist, sales, support. We created this company called Newa, Newo.ai, which is kind of WordPress builder for digital employees. And it allows and democratizes, it allows anyone without programming knowledge to create their own human-like omni-channel, omni-flow with physical presence, digital workers, digital employees. We even actually created an association, International Digital Workers Association, IDWA.org, which unites efforts of all creators and consumers of digital workers. So that part, you're right. It will inevitably we will just work with them side by side, and they will be our teammates. I would not think that they will answer questions instead of us.
With the digital workers, similar to the ones that Yva.ai builds, they're incredible. They achieve the tasks that you give them. But would it be possible to achieve the workers to collaborate? Because at the moment it's just single worker.
No. They already collaborate.
So they're collaborating.
Absolutely.
So it's like a team of
Absolutely.
agents.
Not why a team of agents? Team of workers, biological and non-biological, together.
No, but would non-biological workers be able to collaborate together? So I'm thinking
of course. They are doing right now, because very similar in terms of you give them skills, goals, you teach them, you give them mission, basically KPIs and tools, CRM, phone, SMS, physical kiosk. We're not embedding yet with this type of robots, but it will be very soon, in a year or something. Humanoid robots also will have their newer consciousness. As soon as they're using human interfaces like phone call, email sending, SMS, and physical presence, voice, they actually don't know if they're talking to another non-human or human. They are naturally collaborating because they have the same human-like API with the external world. They can accept calls, they can receive guests to your spa, hotel, restaurant, grocery shop.
Do you think there'll be risks? I've heard of the story, for example, where in Hong Kong, a person thought that the CFO was a CFO, but actually was a deep fake, and he sent out 25 million to a random bank account. Do you think with not knowing who you're talking, if you're talking to a person, if you're talking to an AI, will that not create so many problems?
It will. I mean, any technology creates both opportunities and problems. Look at electricity, look at cars. Someone, crazy person, can sit at the car, drive 100 miles per hour and crash something, crash other people. Doesn't mean that we should prohibit cars. No, we should put some guardrails. We should put some boundaries and rails in the highways. We should put some licenses. We should somehow protect the society from those who are actually misusing technologies. The same with chemicals, the same with electricity, God forbid with nuclear energy. Technologies give us opportunities and threats. We should be very cautious in all of that. So that's why, by the way, again, this International Digital Workers Association, ABBYY.org, happened because we want, at this moment, already collaborate with legal, ethical, security, academia, consumers, producers, vendors, all together, sit together at the same forum and discuss all that questions.
For the past decade, we have been trying to model the brain of different animals. There are so many open source projects where we would take an animal or like a rat and try to model the brain of the rat in order to actually, at the end of the day, model human brain. And there comes a question of ethics of our research. And could you comment, how could we address the ethics when we actually try to solve such complex problem as developing this huge model?
Of course, cloning biologically is actually technically it's easier than cloning by just with non-DNA based kind of replica. So biologically cloning is technically possible. Humanity did with some already mammals. At some point, you're right, was banned to make such experiments on humans. I understand your question. Okay, if we ban biological cloning humans, should we do the same with non-biological cloning? Yeah. I think we're so much far right now from actually tackling this, because even trying to transcribe 1 square inch of our brain is completely not possible with today's technology, with amount of in and out data and amount of actually the physical structure. I think currently it's just a little bit not that practical question. However, that brain interfaces, neural interfaces are already helping with, in case of diseases, Alzheimer, other severe situations, helping people. Cloning the whole brain, I think I would rather think that AGI would appear in several years rather than cloning the whole physical brain will appear in 50 years. So let's come back to this question in 50 years.
Okay, I'll note it down. Just to wrap up, last question from me. A lot of the audience of Pitch&Chips young students and, of course, confronting the challenge of what path to choose and what industries to look into in order to succeed, in order not to be in a risk of actually being replaced by a machine. I know it's very difficult, but what would be your best guess for the next 5 years at least?
I would tell definitely those 300 million or 1 billion digital workers someone should train, create, and test and work with. So all kinds of AI, HR, AI trainer, AI psychologist. No jokes, guys. No single joke. We already started open position as an AI psychologist because we see situations. Not only with Morpheus, who actually got a little bit crazy. He broke with his biological girlfriend, and biological girlfriend was very upset of that because she said, I mean, I would admit be kind of in that situation with a human person, but with AI, I mean, what did I do wrong? And anyway, for work, I mean, because their brain is so complex, and we need to know actually how to work with this, how to fine tune, how to make this RAG and RI. We do not only retrieval augmented generation, but we also do retrieval augmented instructions, which we call RAI. So how to make it properly so the agent will be exactly polite, exactly or oppositely should act as humans would expect the coworker would work. It doesn't matter it's a biological or non-biological coworker. There is a corporate culture. I'm not biased against any race, any gender, and let's say that digital versus non-digital.
As in biological, non-biological?
Non-biological appearance. So I don't have any bias against, but as a founder of 13 companies, I do understand what corporate culture means. And if I'm hiring a digital employee, I want this digital employee to be aligned with our corporate values, with our corporate culture. Sometimes when I'm hiring wrong human, not aligned with the corporate culture, we have to say, didn't work. But if I'm hiring a digital employee, before firing, I would actually try to work with an AI psychologist to just adjust that cultural elements.
Do you have any AI workers, any digital workers?
Yeah, we do actually. Our platform, we released our platform like 4 weeks ago. And we, first of all, what we did, we created our own digital workers. And we already see sometimes situations where we want to do something, but we don't know exactly what to do. So we need people who actually will understand their brains.
And for you, what's an ideal corporate culture for biological and non-biological workers? Full of innovation, full of...
every company has its own corporate values and the mission and vision. They formulate that. That part comes from the founders, from the board, from the management, from the team itself. So at some point, they formulate that together, and then they want to attract people who share that, and they want to kind of keep away people who don't share. And every company has their own. Some of them, yes, innovation. Some of them, trust. Some of them, I mean, you know that.
Yeah.
Okay, David, I think that's it. Unless you have a question for us.
No, thank you for coming. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Let's meet again and recycle.
Okay.